In this video, we're going to take a look at themes and some of the things on the Design tab in PowerPoint 2016. I have already loaded a business project plan template, which I've used in some of my other videos. And let's take a look. Everything we're looking at is going to be on the Design tab. And on the Design tab, we have a bunch of, it's mostly themes. And we've got a whole list of about a dozen or so here. And we've got a More button. If we click on More, we'll get a bunch of other ones. And it does do a live preview for you, but one of the problems with doing a live preview here is that the drop down here is covering up our actual slideshow. So if we just go back here and click off of that, and now we can do a live preview. And it changes the background, it changes the fonts, it changes the colors, and it also changes the location of things on the page. Let's go down here too. Let's see if it'll show up on this one. So I've got a bulleted list here, and let's try this. And it looked to me like they moved to the left a little bit and down. Yeah, they did. And you can kind of see them jumping around as you do this. So everything's not going to be in the same place. So you probably want to make a decision about a theme early on, because if you don't, you may have to go through and move things around because things that were not overlapping with one theme are now overlapping with another theme. Now, we were having problems with the live preview before because it was covering up some of this stuff. So let's go up here, and instead of clicking on the More button, click on this button right here, and it'll just drop you down to the next row of items. And now if we pause, there's nothing covering up everything that's in my slideshow like we were having problems with before. Okay. So we're going to pick one. I'm going to pick the circuit one here. And when I pick one, it kind of depends on the theme that we pick, but we get some variants over here. Let's see if this does a live preview, and it does. So I can get the whole thing only green, and if I click on it, it won't just do this slide, it'll do the whole slideshow. And I can do an orange one, and I can do a gray one as well. And just click and you'll select everything. Okay, let's go back to the original one here. And these don't really have names. It's just, it says circuit on all of them. And one thing to notice is that there's a little color palette in front of everyone here, although it is kind of small. So when I select one, let's go down here to slide number 7. Actually, let's see if we get another one here. Let's try slide number 9. Okay. And this palette here determines the colors of the different things. So like your font color, and then some colors for graphic elements like some Smartart that I have here. And let's go to variants here, and let's try colors. Okay, and we get this palette of colors. And as I go down here, you should see not only the background changing, but also the Smartart, the background color, behind these resources and notes. And also, it's a pretty thin line, but there's a color around the outside here that's a border color. And as we work our way down, those change. They're mostly pretty dark. The background is mostly pretty dark, but as I move down, the background color does change. And you can kind of see the border color changing in some of them too, but it's only about 1 pixel wide, so that's kind of hard to see. So you can pick a variant, and then you can actually modify that with your own different colors. There's also a fonts option here as well, and the font options, each one has a name. That's the first line, it's in bold. So, and usually it's the name of the font. And the second line is what's used for the headings or the titles. So if I pick this one, Cambria is the title. If I click on this and go to my home tab, it should tell me I've got Cambria. But if I go down here in the body, that is not Cambria, that's Calibri. And that happens to be the default for Office. Let's go back to Design here. And let's go back to fonts, and fonts, and that's the default for Office 2007 to 2010, and it's still the current default in 2016. Now, a bunch of these here just use the same font for titles and for the body, and it kind of looks like all the way down here that's what we're getting, but we can scroll. And eventually we'll get to the point where we have hyphenated names because we've got two fonts, one for the headings and one for the body. So once we get to this point right here, I think most of the rest of them from here on down have one font for the headings and a different font for the body. And the name of the font variant is a combination of the two font names. The first one is the title font, second one is the body font. You can also change it. We're not going to look at effects here. This mainly has to do, we can try it here. It mostly has to do with graphics like Smartart. So we've got some Smartart here. If I pause the mouse over this, you can see some subtle changes going on in the Smartart here. But in general, I've never noticed any of this stuff making very much difference in anything that I've done in the slideshow. Okay, and then we have background styles, and so you get even more variants here for changing the background style in your slideshow. And then the last thing that we're going to take a look at here is the slide size, and you can do the old, this used to be the default 4:3, and then we got HD video, and now the default is probably going to be widescreen, a ratio of 16:9. Okay, that takes care of pretty much everything on the design tab. There's two things we didn't do: format background, and there's just some basic stuff with colors here and transparency, and then some design ideas where it gives you, well, sometimes it gives you some design ideas for how to lay out the slide. I'm not sure how useful they are. I'm not sure how useful formatting the background is either. So we'll just leave it at that for the design ribbon.